It's time to go into the SPP film room for Chalk Talk with Coach Andy Scheel Drew, brought to you by QwikCut Video and Analytics. Store, share, and analyze game film. QwikCut is an affordable video analysis platform to elevate game performance. Get started with a free trial today by visiting QwikCut.com. Now here are Coach Andy Scheel Drew. Welcome everybody to the Sports Peninsula Podcast, Chalk Talk time, into the film room, the SPP film room. I'm Drew, and I am joined by Coach Andy Scheel of the Marine City Mariners. Coach, I know you have an affinity for X's and O's, and here we are finally doing some Chalk Talk.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. This is a new segment for us here at the SPP. We're familiar with some of our talk and dialogue and our great conversational stuff that we like to do, and keeping it positive and strong and forward down the field, right? This time we get to do some things with some video. Kind of like we do in the coach's room. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to doing this with you, Drew.
Yeah, let's take a look at the first clip we got here. And Coach, this is early in the game on the first quarter, and this is just a slant for St. Brown. Let's talk this one through. What are you seeing here?
Well, in the big picture view, you're going to almost see like a triangle form. It's a triangle route scheme where you'll see Amon St. Brown, who is circled here, just run kind of like a soft slant, which is I think what you had termed it was called. He finds this little spot in between the linebackers. You're going to have the receiver here to the bottom of the screen, right below the 30, run a route in that same general area, drawing defense that way. And then you're going to have someone occupy the flat, which is going to pull the other linebacker down over onto the other side of the 30, virtually leaving Amon-Ra St. Brown wide open. Great play scheme by Ben Johnson. Great execution by the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, and just like you said, it seems like they're in good position here, but right there, you see that
drawing defenders to the other corners of that triangle, where now Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to be at the top point of that triangle, and you'll see what the end result is. Direct shot, first down, Detroit Lions.
Found a soft spot in the zone, right? And that's exactly where it ends up.
Right between those two linebackers, the linebacker on the top of the screen is going to be drawn up to the running back coming out into the flat. And this motion coming across is going to draw the other linebacker out to the other flat. And here you go, wide open.
So let's go to the next clip we got here. And this is a big play, Coach. This was the Laporta touchdown. Talk about this one.
Well, this is just once again a Ben Johnson just outstanding play, drawn up play. You're going to have Sam Laporta here on the left side of the offensive line here, at kind of near the bottom back foot of the Lion here. Basically, what you're going to have is play action, go to the offensive right, and Goff is going to roll left. What you're going to expect, where Drew's got that circled, is you're going to expecting to see either the Laporta run a seam straight up the hashes, or run an arrow flag away towards the other corner of the end zone here to the bottom. But what you're going to see is Laporta break it off into a post and run away from the rollout. Totally breaks typical play, classical play rollout. Goff's got the arm strength to go back across the field to a wide open Sam Laporta. Brilliant play design.
You're right, Coach. I think when we talk about that play, you're right. It's totally against the grain. You know who we used to see back in the day do that a lot because he had the cannon was Brett Favre.
Mm-hmm.
He threw across his body, across the field very often. You don't expect that from Jared Goff, and yeah, that was pretty slick. I did enjoy that one. I know the fans did. That was a huge play. You gotta love that. So let's talk about this next play here, Coach. This one here, pretty straightforward, but we want to talk about the technique Charles Harris uses here on this sack. What'd you see here?
That's Drew. You hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what you're going to see here is premium professional technique by Charles Harris. Charles Harris is going to arc his blocker here big time. He's going to basically race. He's going to race across his face. He's going to race across his face and try to create and condense a circle to the quarterback to finish off, hopefully, on a sack. He does this to perfection. It's like a kind of a quarter circle. You'll see him form from that hash mark all the way to Desmond Ridder. And he gets him perfectly in the back for one of those 7 sacks that we saw last Sunday at Ford Field. Outstanding effort and technique by Charles Harris.
Yeah, the thing, I was very concerned about losing James Houston, and rightfully so. I mean, he's going to be out a couple months now. And we know what Hutch brings to the table, but we know Okora's getting back from an injury. We know Julian Okora still isn't fully healthy. You like to see this from Charles Harris a lot. He's a pretty dynamic player, no question. We've got another one here, and this is the Jared Goff touchdown. I'll admit, Coach, I was fooled.
Well, you know what? And that was the whole concept there and designed to do it. I tell you what, this is happening at all levels of football. And all this is a zone keep. It's pretty much predetermined. I don't think there's any reading here. They're blocking and loading players up top. But what you're going to have, and you're going to see probably all day long, was Jared Goff handing the ball off to Jahmyr Gibbs or Craig Reynolds in that kind of a play. All day long, all day long, all day long. Not this time. Jared keeps it. There's a wide open spot because it draws this other defender underneath just enough for, I believe, Sam Laporta to shade him, and Jared Goff with an easy rushing touchdown. Another outstanding call by Ben Johnson, and this one put the game pretty much out of reach for the Atlanta Falcons.
I'm like kind of stumbling on my words now. I mean, it's like wow. It's like I did not expect Jared Goff to do it. And it wasn't spectacular, but he pulled it off. I mean, beautiful. Like you said, zone keep, and you said it was predetermined. No question about it. But
we prepare for it at Marine City every week. I mean, it's one of the things that concerns me the most, because I tell you what, it just lulls you to sleep. You hand and give, hand and give, hand and give, hand and give. You have that on film for weeks and weeks and weeks, and never pull it. Pretty soon you're not drilling it, and that player's that has bad eye discipline and kind of forgets his technical scheme responsibilities, and that sets the stages for touchdowns like you saw right there.
Now we're going to look at the final play that we have here for the fans, and this was you gotta love this. Hutch seals the deal, Coach.
This is a great one to finish on, because this has pretty much wrapped it all up here. This is an interior rush from Aiden Hutchinson. They don't have him, they have him also protected outside here in the bunch. There's a bunch trips right here. That's what this wide receiver cluster is here, right under the second down and 10. And what you're going to have is you're going to see underneath that bunch trips, that third receiver, Aiden Hutchinson, press rushing in between there with the offensive tackle. He absolutely dives underneath, just like a shot out of a cannon, extends and pulls and slingshots off the guard. So it was an interior rush. And if you just rein it back just a little bit, you see this great arm extension. Aiden Hutchinson grabs cloth inside that chest plate and extends on this blocker, and totally rips and slingshots underneath the blocker and right into Des Ridder, who forced the fumble, the strip sack. He recovers it himself. Another Aiden Hutchinson, daily double. And here we go. Number 97 puts the final dagger into the Atlanta Falcons and buries them once and for all.
I'm going to play this at full speed again, Coach, because what was very impressive, it was impressive the strength he showed, but he found fifth gear immediately after he does this rip move. Watch.
Well, yeah, and your average, he push pulled. It's a push pull technique, and the average Joe gets hung up on that block. He's not getting off it. The average Joe, that's a pro guard, or he's not going to get off the block. Aiden Hutchinson's got that next level technique. He's got the tremendous athletic ability, the long lever arms. Lest we forget he's 6'7", and those are some great tools to be able to perform a push pull slingshot move like that.
He is a special player. He had 2 sacks in the game, and that was the final nail in the coffin, if you will, to go 2-1. Coach, we're gonna be doing a lot of these this year. We started with this game, and we're gonna get a little more technical, a little better with that, and I will get better with that down the road. But I love your analysis of the X's and O's, and I'm looking very much forward to hearing what you have to say about these plays, because those are the nuances you don't get to hear about all the time. I mean, it's easy for a novice like myself to point out a play. Oh yeah, that was a great touchdown, but there's a lot that goes into it, and we want to educate some folks on football too, as much as entertain. And that great job. I appreciate your time, Coach. But let's talk a little bit about the Green Bay game coming up here. And we're recording actually about half hour before our kickoff. So we're looking forward to this one. We talked about this in our preview during when we did our review of the Atlanta game a couple days ago, and that's out on YouTube. So please click on that, listen to it, subscribe to the channel. We want to get more of this content out there. And we love QwikCut. We really appreciate their support as well. And this is just an example of the Lions are really becoming a more fundamentally sound team. We've seen some very talented Lions teams. We've had very talented players in Detroit, obviously, over the years. But Coach, I don't know if we've seen this sound of a team fundamentally. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
When you're picking up things across the board like we were able to in the Atlanta game, and really kind of walk away feeling that wasn't our greatest punch. I think it was a really good defensive punch, but offensively they definitely they left a little room to be for improvement and a little bit more to be desired, and they will admit that, and that's what's kind of the accountability you're hearing. People were happy. We were all happy that we're 2-1 and we beat the Atlanta Falcons, but we weren't overwhelmingly happy as fans, or even more importantly, the team, because we knew we could have been better. And that's something that's a different feeling. A win was a win in the past. Now it's a win, and we need to be playing good because we want to be able to win against anybody. And that's the next level thinking right there.
Yep. Gap discipline, sure tackling. I mean, having a lead into the fourth quarter and just sealing the deal. We're not used to that. We're used, we see come from behind victories. We see nail biters. We see, spectacular plays to end games, but
individual performers.
Yeah. It's good to see a workman-like performance by the team. This game was not in doubt. It just wasn't in doubt from the second quarter on. It was pretty clear the Lions should win this football game. They're in command. And they never let up. And we saw a little bit of that last year. I think the Giants game was a good example last year. The Lions went into New York and took control. And quite frankly, it was never a doubt. I think that's the aura that Campbell and the staff are bringing. These are type of players Brad Holmes is bringing in. And when you look at the contributions in that game, Jahmyr Gibbs, 80 yards. Sam Laporte, 84 yards and a touchdown. Brian Branch, 11 tackles, 3 for a loss. Jack Campbell with a sack. All rookies, by the way, folks. All rookies. Sortisal got in there and played some right tackle in a pinch. You can see it happening. And Coach, you nailed it. When they got Brad Holmes here, you said it's not what he does on day 1 or 2. It's what he does on day 3 that separates Brad Holmes from a lot of other general managers. Here we are.
Building out a more fortified roster. And we have all these injuries to edge rush and the defensive backfield and the offensive line, and we're still surviving. Yeah. We're still surviving. That's the tell-all of proper professional football roster management. And we've got a very, very proper professional football roster manager.
Yeah, absolutely.
And staff.
Yep. And the future's bright.
Forward down the field.
Amen. Coach, great talking to you. Great having some chalk talk. The SPP locker room. Every week we're going to be doing this. We're going to have some special surprises for the folks later in the year. We won't divulge any of that. You just tune in and watch. We're going to have some surprises for you. So for Coach Andy Scheel of the Marine City Mariners, I'm Drew. Go Lions and take care, everybody. We will talk to you soon. This has been the Sports Peninsula Podcast. To subscribe to the podcast, simply click the subscribe button on our YouTube channel's homepage and give us a like. You can also follow our audio podcast on multiple platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Google Podcasts, just to name a few. Give us a follow on Twitter. Our handle is @SportsPPodcast to check out our latest releases. Thank you again for watching and for your support. Remember, when you want to hear all about sports in the great state of Michigan, there is only one Sports Peninsula Podcast.